Just introduce some of us, especially because we want to bring them up to come and sit on this side of the hall. Everybody here is a special guest, but I want to particularly call on some people to come up. First, we have the BOT chairman from the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity, in the person of Ambassador Angela Wogu. Please a round of applause for her as she comes up to take her seat. You're welcome, ma'am. And secondly, we have from ONSA, we have Lieutenant UG Yunusa. Please a round of applause for him as he comes up. You're welcome, sir. Also, we have from UNODC, he is the project coordinator. Please help me welcome Mr. Maximilian Manhad. Please a round of applause for him as he comes up. You're welcome, sir. We have from AANI, the Assistant Secretary General. Help me welcome Dr. Babatunde Kayode, MNI. Please a round of applause for him as he comes up. You're welcome, sir. We're going to be taking the welcoming remark, and to do that, we have a wonderful gentleman from
My people for Nigeria, the Center for Physical Transparency and Public Integrity, now independent organization where they focus on how to make government better for Nigeria. We dey tell all Nigerians make them shine their eye and they monitor wetin local government councils they do for the whole country to make things better for everybody. We get 3 levels of government: federal, state, and local government where they close to the people. Each level get their work where they supposed do to make sure say government they work well. So
our partner and leading mother of this initiative, Ambassador Angela, Lieutenant UK Yunusa, Dr. Babatunde Kayode, representative of NFIU, Mr. Maximilian Manhad, other distinguished
court don deliver judgment talk say all local government councils for Nigeria get financial independence. E go good make all the citizens for the 774 local government areas dey watch out and dey see how dem dey do projects with the money wey federal government give them. Na your right as a citizen. Nigerian government dey set up in a way wey dey allow local government to provide things like gutters, roads, clean drinking water, primary and secondary schools, better healthcare plus welfare for workers wey go make them work well. E dey very important to watch how dem dey hire people for government work to make sure say women dey get their share based on their political contribution and put
important event. The goal of today's events is to highlight the ongoing efforts of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms in collaboration with the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity in promoting transparency, accountability initiatives across public institutions. The purpose of the presentation of today's results is to foster transparency, deepen strong preventive measures against corruption, and assist public institutions in improving their performance across various indicators that ensure compliance with public regulations. The Transparency and Integrity Index is an assessment that seeks to evaluate the performance of ministries, departments, and agencies of Federal Republic of Nigeria through a peer review mechanism in relation to their compliance in the proactive disclosure of information and compliance to extant provisions of the transparency. The index is assessed based on 5 variables, including, among others, fiscal transparency, open procurement, control of corruption, citizens' engagement, human resource and inclusion across public institutions. The Bureau's partnership with this organization on the Transparency and Integrity Index is inspired by the Bureau's strategic role as a leader in public service reforms across ministries, departments, and agencies of government. This association and collaboration aligns with the developmental objective of Pillar 3 of the National Strategy of Public Service Reforms that has been looking around public financial management component of the NSPSR, which aims to achieve efficient and effective mobilization, allocation, and use of public resources. It also seeks to ensure fiscal discipline, transparency, integrity, and accountability through timely reporting of our activities to citizens of Nigeria and the world. This collaboration is part of our broader effort to establish frameworks and institutional arrangements that provide a unified vision and long-term agenda for repositioning Nigeria to be among the first 20 public services in the world by the year 2050. It is apt to say that the initiative is in line with the 8 priority areas of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government, which is looking at improving governance, improving efficiency of ministries, departments, and agencies of government, and improving accountability and fighting corruption. In line with the ratification of the Open Government Partnership Initiative, OGP, and the United Nations Convention on Anti-Corruption, UNCAC, by the Nigerian government, the demand for responsiveness to citizens and the need for us to be evolving in terms of ethics and transparency in the way and manner we manage the resources of the public or ministries, departments, and agencies of government has never been as high as this time. Accordingly, the Bureau of Public Service Reforms has been tireless in both state actors and non-state actors space to drive the implementation of access to information and deepening platforms for citizens' engagement in order to foster openness and inclusiveness in governance. Similarly, as part of this initiative and the programs that we have been running with our partners, we intend to deepen transparency and accountability across public institutions at the federal, state, and local governments. Thereby, annually, we conduct scorecard ranking of websites of MDAs, where we arrange workshops, perception surveys, impact assessments of efforts of MDAs to improve accountability, transparency, but most especially to see how we can improve the speed of service delivered by government ministries to its citizens. Since the commencement of the presentation of the Transparency and Integrity Index in 2021, records have revealed that most of public institutions have adopted the methodological metrics. Though the response remains low, we intend to intensify our efforts towards a broader awareness by all public institutions. May I use this opportunity to further reiterate that this initiative is not aimed at shaming or disgracing any institution of government, but only our contribution to improving transparency and accountability within the space of government. And that is why, apart from releasing the result, we organize a lot of stakeholder trainings and engagements to get all of us to play at the same level. Our hope and prayer is very soon all ministries, departments, and agencies will score 100%. That means our level has reached world public service level. Government is not resting on its source, as new reform measures are taken to ensure prudent financial management. Several public financial reforms are being implemented to improve transparency and integrity in public financial management. Some of the recent ones include the Money Laundering Provision Act, tax reforms and fiscal policy, debt management strategies, the Cyber Crime Act, the Public Procurement Act as amended, the Finance Act, the Petroleum Industry Act. In conclusion, I commend the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Integrity for having confidence in Bureau of Public Service Reforms and accepting to work with the government institution to support openness, improve integrity, fight corruption. I also extend my gratitude to all our stakeholders who have contributed to the success of this event from day one to date. I want to use this opportunity to thank you for your loyalty, for your support and encouragement. Going forward, we may not have the opportunity to sit here again because federal government has approved the adoption of use of artificial intelligence, blockchain technology in delivering public service. So the mood of assessment is likely going to change. We thank you very much for coming and wish you a safe trip back to your destinations. Thank you and good morning.
Please, a round of applause for him once again. Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to welcome to the high table from the ICPC, Mr. Clement Obani. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes up. You're welcome, sir. Also from the EFCC, we have Mr. Talib Yahya Ismail. Please, a round of applause for him as we bring him up to the high table. You're welcome, sir. Please, we would like to ask that those of us that are seated behind, please, can you just move forward? Please, we will appreciate if you come closer so that the cameras can capture you properly. Thank you for complying. We'd like to acknowledge that we have guests from different MDAs. We have from the CBN, we have from the BPSR, from FMYD, NUPRC, Legal Aid Council, NIPC, core members from the NYSC, NHRC, Federal Ministry of Innovation, NAPTIP, Ministry of Communication, Nigerian Customs, TRCN, DSS, JAMB, MCIDE, ONSA, National Security Advisor, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, FRSC, OSGR, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, NFW, NFIU, FHA, INEC, FMJ, NCWS, Prime Power Limited, FMWA, Agora Policy, and several others. Please, if you're here, please help me just welcome them with a round of applause, please. All the way from the FRSC, I would like to bring to the high table Mr. John Oda. Please a round of applause for him as we welcome him and bring him to the high table. You're welcome, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take the background of the day's event. And to do this, we're going to forgive me, it's not Mr. John from the FRSC, it's Mr. Ibirongbe Olushola Michael. A round of applause for him. You're welcome, sir. Now, for the background of the day's event, we're going to call on the programs officer for the center. Please help me welcome Miss Tamara Berapubo. Please a round of applause for her as she comes up.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues and partners. Permit me to stand on existing protocol. It is a great honor to welcome you to the fourth presentation of the Transparency and Integrity Index developed by the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity. The Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity is a non-governmental and non-partisan organization established in 2016 to promote good governance by strengthening systems and mechanisms that enhance transparency and accountability of public institutions at the national and subnational levels. Through collaboration with government, media, and civil society partners, the Center designs and implements programs and interventions in fiscal transparency, public sector integrity, organized crime prevention, anti-corruption, and data science. The Transparency and Integrity Index was launched in 2021 as a tool to assess the openness of public institutions by evaluating the availability of vital information on governance that is statutorily required to be made public. This evaluation spans across multiple areas, including budgeting, procurement, human resources, to ensure that the pillars of transparency and integrity are upheld. This index reflects our collective commitment to advancing transparency, accountability, and public sector integrity across all levels of government in Nigeria. Transparency in governance is not just a principle, but a necessity for the prevention of corruption and the promotion of good governance. When citizens have access to clear, accurate, and timely information about the decisions and actions of their government, they are empowered to hold public officials accountable. This fosters trust, strengthens democratic processes, and ultimately leads to more efficient public service delivery. The 2024 index builds upon this foundation, examining the degree to which government institutions at all levels adhere to their obligations to publish critical information. It aims to assess compliance with national laws, such as the Freedom of Information Act and international conventions like the United Nations Convention Against Corruption and the African Union Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, amongst others. This year's index features assessments across 5 key thematic areas: fiscal transparency, open procurement, human resources and inclusion, control of corruption, and citizens' engagement. Each of these areas has been allotted equal weight to reflect their importance in addressing public sector integrity. We believe that the Transparency and Integrity Index serves as a mirror reflecting where we are and highlighting the areas where we must improve. This report is not just about assigning scores. It is a tool to guide reforms and promote the culture of openness and accountability that Nigeria needs. I would like to appreciate MacArthur Foundation for their unwavering support in the fight against corruption, the Bureau of Public Service Reforms for their continuous support and partnership, and all the public institutions that have worked tirelessly to improve their transparency practices. Together, we can continue to strengthen Nigeria's governance framework and ensure that integrity remains at the heart of public service. Welcome once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamara. Thank you. If you can clap for her again, I'll be happy. She's my colleague, and I want her to be happy. We have a very crowded sitting over there at the top, while the front is very empty. It's not good for our coverage, so our appeal, in the spirit of transparency and accountability, that the people up there should move forward so that we can have a very tight and closed coverage of the event. Please, in the spirit of transparency and accountability, which is why we are here, I'd like to appeal that you just move forward. And if you do that, we'll proceed with the next item on the agenda. And just to let us know that we're moving very fast on the program, and before you know it, we are done with the program. So the next on the agenda, of course, is going to be the presentation of a documentary produced by the Center to tell a story of the 3-year journey. And so in 3 years, we have moved from the highest ranked organization, Society for Family Homes, which scored 33.7% in the first presentation of the index. We have moved from 33 to 57, Development Bank of Nigeria. We have also moved from 57 in the second year to 73 in the third year, which was also retained by the Development Bank of Nigeria. And so today, we'll be presenting the 4th edition of this index. Just to buttress what my colleague says, this index is basically saying that as MDA, as government institution, you're required by laws that we have subscribed to, extant laws as well, to disclose proactively some information. We are not even asking for classified information. We are asking for information that should be, on the public domain as required by our laws. If you're familiar with the Freedom of Information Act, Section 2 of that Act specifies certain information that should be proactively disclosed on the public portal. And that is what this index is really, really asking for. So we are not asking for so much. We'd like to thank you for the cooperation in the past 3 years. And so today, I will be telling the 3-year journey of the index. I'd like to know if the team is ready for that. Okay. So they are ready. They are going to take us through what has happened in the last 3 years. How did we start the index? What happened in between? And of course, it will take us to where we are. If the media team is ready, you can cue that. Thank you very much.
The Center for Fiscal Transparency is a non-partisan organization. It's a civil society organization that promotes accountability, transparency, and good governance.
The center was established in 2016, and its main purpose is to do advocacy
within the secondary schools, vulnerable groups, women groups on anti-corruption, counter-fraud issues, and things to improve security generally around the country.
Another interesting thing about the journey is that we try to work on projects that are not antagonistic.
and we assess over 500 NDAs.
In a world where information is power, The Transparency and Integrity Index was born 3 years ago. Today, we present a compelling success story of transparency, accountability, and persistent fight against public sector corruption.
In 2021, when we started the Transparency and Integrity Index project, it was quite challenging for us, especially given that there was no prior index before then, and it was the first of its kind.
In the inaugural year, dedicated teams collaborated to create the index from scratch, from defining parameters to developing a user-friendly interface. The focus was on laying a robust foundation.
These variables were reviewed based off of laws, conventions, and commitments that Nigeria subscribed to.
With the index live, citizens began actively engaging with the platform. Government agencies and institutions embraced the transparency challenge, eager to showcase their commitment.
What the index is doing, or what you are doing indirectly, is captured in the National Strategy on Public Service Reforms, where we're looking at transparency, accountability, and making sure that we open government.
It's the first of its type in the world. We are proud to say that it's the first type because we're actually invited to the last Conference of State Parties to the United Nations Against Corruption in Atlanta in December 2023, where it was an objective way of measuring corruption.
The data showed a significant uptick in engagement, indicating a growing demand for transparency and NDA's compliance with access to information laws.
Prior to the presentation of the reports, we usually would have release the methodology for the year's assessment, and then we train public institutions representative on the requirements of these laws, because they have to have a knowledge of what these laws or this assessment entails for them to, proactively disclose the information that they are required to disclose.
For 2022, after the assessment of the Transparency and Integrity Index for ministries, departments, and agencies, Development Bank of Nigeria topped the chart with 58.74%.
The third in the series of the Transparency and Integrity Index was a testimony of impact and triumph of transparency.
Integrity is quite important, and transparency is our way of life. So we're quite pleased to know that there's an institution that look at things like that and come out with a report.
3 years is a very short time for reform. Reform takes time. So we're proud to say that if within 3 years, there's actually a lot of improvement depending on the category you're looking at. The organizations that are private in nature, for example, those that have banks, development bank, central bank, we have noticed there's a lot of improvement. Also with the states, because there are a lot of other commitments we know that they have, or obligations they have with other multilateral institutions such as the World Bank and the IMF, there are some things they ought to disclose, proactively disclose. So that has been helping their ranking.
It does a lot to, put the government in check, because if you let it open, the citizens see what you are doing, it gives you the opportunity to make amends where you go wrong. It gives you the room to perform better.
We've made a lot of efforts. We've made giant strides. In 2022, our advocacy led to the amendment of the Money Laundering and Prohibition Act. It led to the amendment of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act, and also the passage of the Proceeds of Crime Act.
Also, we are driving the advocacy for the Whistleblowers Bill and the Witness Protection Bill to become an act. So that's what we're currently working on.
This organization works through pressurizing the authorities to do the right thing.
People need to know that they have the right to go further than what we have done, to demand for explanation. If you have done well, what did you do? If you have not done well, why didn't you do well?
Every December 9th, we join hands with the United Nations in having events that call attention to corruption. so that corruption can begin to be stamped out. And we do this event using youth corpers and students in secondary schools.
Encouraged by the success, the index is now expanding its reach to new regions, aiming to create a continental culture of transparency. In the third year of the index, the Liberia Civil Society Anti-Corruption Coalition presented the Liberia version of its Transparency and Integrity Index, TII, to mark the 2023 United Nations Universal Access to Information.
Speaking about expansion of scope, we are working with the Liberia Civil Society Anti-Corruption Coalition to expand the TII across Africa. We see this index as a very crucial tool to promoting transparency and, most importantly, accountability.
Looking towards the future, the Transparency and Integrity Index continues to evolve. What started as a vision has become a continental movement toward a more transparent and accountable world. This is not just a success story, it is a testament to the power of transparency and the resilience of those committed to integrity.
I would just say kudos to them. Continue the good work. You can only be better when you allow yourself for people to look at you, advise, criticize, and what a better way to go other than this. So we continue to do good work, and we rest assured that Kaduna is going to give you all the necessary support.
First and foremost, I think I would advise that you'll be proactive in terms of disclosures and transparency. I also advise that there'll be consistency between what you put out there and what you practice. So it's not just for the public, but what is practiced is part of what you do.
My prayer is for Nigerians to be actively engaged on good governance issues, because we need to all understand that this steady light, access to healthcare, good roads, good schools we yearn for cannot happen. It cannot be a miracle. It can only happen when we are educated enough and enlightened enough to ask the right questions.
The journey so far for me has been quite an experience. It's been really good. I've learned a lot. Before joining the organization, I had this apathy for government dealings. I wasn't interested in whatever the government had to offer, whatever they had to do. But joining this organization has kind of revitalized my awareness on what I should get myself involved in, especially as it has to do with governance.
The future that I see for this organization is one of hope, is one of success, because the executive director knows what he wants and he is focused. He has a goal, and his goal is to ensure that there's good governance at all levels.
As we conclude this remarkable journey of the last 3 years, we reaffirm our commitment to advancing governance, transparency, and accountability. This index, alongside our other inventions, has proven that with the right tools and a shared vision, we can hold institutions accountable, empower citizens, and drive meaningful change. But this is just the beginning. We call all stakeholders, government agencies, civil society, the private sector, and citizens to join us in demanding greater transparency and integrity in public governance. Together, we can build a more just, fair, and accountable society. Join the movement for transparency and integrity. Let's continue to work hand in hand to ensure that every step forward is a step towards a brighter, more transparent future for all.
And I really thank you for watching what was just presented. It's just the 3-year journey of the index. And so in the last assessment, Development Bank actually came top. So we'll be here to see who came top in the 2024 assessment. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for your continuous support. Thank you.
Please, the owner of a Honda car, Kano plate number KRY150TK, Honda, Ash. Please go and move your car. You're blocking somebody. Please, you're causing some inconvenience. Please help us move your car. Just adjust it a little. It's just at the car park here. Thank you for complying. I would like to acknowledge in our midst the Deputy Director, NFIU. He is the head Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit. Please help me welcome and acknowledge Mr. Chris Owobu. Please a round of applause for him. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. We also have from the ICPC, Mma Ude. Please a round of applause for her. You're welcome, Ma. We also have in our midst from the CBN, Mr. Samuel Musa. We welcome you, sir. You're welcome, sir. And also from AMCON, we have Mr. Murtala Barde. Please, you're welcome, sir. A round of applause for him. You're welcome, sir. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Postmaster General of the Federation. She is the first female Postmaster General of Nigeria, Omotala Odeyemi, ably represented by Mrs. Ruth Kabruk Badunu. Please a round of applause for her. You're welcome, ma. You're welcome. We also want to acknowledge the presence of members of FRC, Fiscal Responsibility Commission. Please a round of applause for them. You're welcome. Gentlemen and ladies, we're going to go to the presentation of the 2024 TII. And it's going to be, okay, we'll just keep the keynote address. We'll take it after this. It's going to be presented by an excellent gentleman, a go-getter, a visionary leader, somebody that has eyes for details. He is the executive director of the center. Please help me welcome Dr. Umar Yakubu. Please a round of applause as he comes up. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Dear DG, Director of Bureau of Public Service Reforms, with your permission, I would like to stand or sit or lie down on existing protocols. Anyone you permit me, sir. Thank you, sir. I would like to proceed to present this year's report. What do you call that? Okay. Control, just present the main report and I'll draw from there. As we all know, transparency has shown from research as a very good tool for anti-corruption. When agencies are transparent, they proactive certain categories of information. You find out even the law enforcement here, like the EFCC, NFIU, ICPC, will have less work to do because the data is already out there. So that's why this initiative, we did it about 4 years ago, and this is the 4th report. But our guiding principles, while the control are working, is we got guiding principles internationally and nationally. From the international angle, of course, we have the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. From Article 5 down to 63, there are articles there that every country is supposed to implement regarding prevention, regarding control of corruption, regarding procurement, on every strata of public service that you can think of. The next international article we have is the African Convention on Preventing and Combating Corruption, 2006, followed by Protocol of the African Charter of Human Rights. We have the Open Government Partnership, which we are subscribed to, and there's dozens of principles that the country is supposed to comply with. Of course, the NFI here, we have the Financial Action Task Force that deals with issues within the related to money laundering and combating terrorism financing. Of course, with the World Bank, we have the, mostly for the states, what they call SIFTAS, States Fiscal Transparency and Accountability Framework, where they are supposed to do some categories of activities to ensure transparency in the states. Then in 2016, we went to UK with the UK Anti-Corruption Summit and made commitments. So I'm just giving a background of where we drew the international principles from. But the major tool that we used was the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. So if you go to the next one, national laws, articles, regulations are where we picked from. The first one is the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 15.5, if I'm correct, that mandates the duty of all public institutions to combat corruption, including all of society. Then the second one we drew from is the Public Procurement Act 2007.
Okay. Public Procurement Act 2007. Then the third one is the Freedom of Information Act. Now, what the Act actually says, and especially the civil society that are here, is we like to write to ask for information. Meanwhile, the Act actually mandates agencies to proactively disclose some categories of information without requesting, so those things should be there. Another one we use, the sectors I've explained, and the Bureau of Public Service Reform so has their own regulations of things that are supposed to be in the public domain proactively on the government website. Okay. So that's just a background to the methodology. So like my colleague mentioned, go to page 6. There are 5 variables. One is fiscal transparency. We request for certain categories of information that based on our own laws, they are supposed to be in the public domain. The second one is on open procurement. The third one is on citizens engagement. The fourth one is on human resources and inclusion. And the last one is on control of corruption. Now, under these 5 thematic variables, you have other sub-variables beneath them. So under fiscal transparency, you have about 8. Under open procurement, you have 3. Control of corruption, 5. Citizen engagement, 7. Then human resources and inclusion, 7. So what you may not have known, when we started this project in 2021, we took the data for 5 years. Starting from 2016. Okay, calm down. You see your results. So in 2020. Okay, sir. So from 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we released the results for 2021, ranking for 5 years. In 2022, we added another year. 2023, we added another year. So this result is for we're releasing in 2024, but it's data for 8 years. So we're asking of your budget reports, of your audit reports, of your procurement records, of number of staff you have, or your sex distribution, how many male, how many female, your control of corruption, all the sub-variables, 29 in number, is for 8 years. So that is why, and we now have a very simple methodology which we changed and we presented here about 6 months ago, where we simplified the methodology. You have 5 thematic areas, so we divided it into 20. We allocated 20% each to each variable. Now after that 20, you now divide it by the number of sub variables, then divide it by the number of years, and then you have your score. So it's as simple as that. I don't know whether it's clear. Okay. So it's not, right? Zoom is not clear. Remove. Yeah, good. So go to page 5, financials. Yeah, start with financials. Stop. Up, 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 stop. So for this year now, under financials, your budget allocation of the last 8 years, just the figure, should be on your website. Why we say it should be on your website, neither, I don't know whether they are here, there's a law that says all public information should be on government websites. So this is the first thing we ask for, just your budget allocation. Where do we draw our powers from? Fiscal Responsibility Act. Fatima, she's here, I can see her. The next thing we ask for, budget release of the last 8 years, because sometimes you have your budget, but there is no, what they call no cash backing. So you should write how much was released. Your last one is the budget implementation report. How have you implemented that budget? That's the third one. The fourth one is the Auditor General's report for MDAs. All of you are supposed to have your audit reports on your website. Then we have 62 government institutions that are called government-owned enterprises. For them, we have identified them and asked for 3 more sub-variables, which is amount generated, amount retained, and amount remitted to the federal government. An amount retained and remitted, amount generated, retained, and remitted. So for just those 62 were the ones that will ask them for those category of information. And we have done in-depth research. It's not for everybody, and the mathematical calculation has taken care of that. So the next one is the procurement record, and where we draw all these things from is the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the Freedom of Information Act, the Nigeria's OGP Action Plan, that's Open Government Partnership, and Sustainable Development Goals 1616. Yeah. So the next is public procurement, is the same thing. For human resources, what we ask for is your recruitment information of the last 8 years. Your recruitment policy, just the policy, it should just be there. Once you have it, one is okay. Your sex distribution, male and female, we only have 2 gender in Nigeria. Then information on the last 3 promotion exercises, that should be there. We have decided at the federal level to have federal character principles, so your number of people from each state should be there. Then our laws are on disability. There says every MDA should have 5% of people with disability. That information should be there. Then of course updated organizational chart, just the chart. Once it's there, we'll score. Then the citizens engagement, every MDA must have an institutional email, .gov.ng. Quarterly, we send emails to every MDA. When you respond, we score you. If you don't respond, we'll score you too. Because it's about institutional response. You are supposed to be responding to citizens. Of course, and the NIDA laws too withdrew from that. That says you must have an interactive session where you are engaging with citizens. That must be there. Then the social media account, we'll just pick one, any one of your choice. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Once you have one and you are responding, you are interacting with citizens, will score you. Then the final one is publication of your annual report. So sometimes some MDAs in their annual report, they have all this data, all the records in the annual report. We take the pain of going to the annual report, going through it to see whether they have the budgets and everything we're asking for, and we take it and still score them. Then the last one, which are actually people should be scoring high, control of corruption. We are asking for 4 policies. 1, your anti-corruption policy, your whistleblower policy, your conflict of interest policy, then your anti-bribery policy. Once you have then each of these policies, it is fine. If they are in one document, you get all your scores of 20. Then the last one, well, now you have these policies, how effective are they? Control of corruption implementation report. You just excuse me, I'll suspend the, okay, go ahead, okay.
So the last variable I was talking about is the control of corruption, where I've explained. But the most important one there is the control of corruption implementation report. Yes, you have policies. What have you done with these policies to control corruption? Because if you have policies, the media shouldn't be saying in Ministry A or Ministry B, X amount is missing or something has gone wrong. So that is those are the scoring criteria that we did for each variable. Next page. Then if you go to page 10, because I can see Fiscal Responsibility Commission here, there are law actually mandates that you publish your budget implementation reports every quarter. So page 8 there is written here, we're checking for every quarter, because this is drawn from Fiscal Responsibility Commission. Though if you have for the year, we'll still score you. But this one is for their own implementation. So you see it in the report on your page 10, how we broke that component because of Fiscal Responsibility Commission. So we'll go straight down to, let me see, to the presentation and results of our ranking, which is on page 18. Control. Page 18. Huh? Oh. Okay. So at this juncture, I've been directed to allow the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who has just joined us, to give the keynote address. So thank you. Before then I'll present the results. Thank you. Of course.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause once again for the Executive Director. Thank you very much for the beautiful report, sir. I would like to acknowledge and welcome the Senator, the Secretary SGF, CON is Senator George Akume, CON. He's ably represented by Barrister Adekunle. Please, a round of applause for him. You're welcome, sir. Yes, please help me welcome him for the keynote address, Barrister Adekunle Olusegun. Please, a round of applause for him as he steps up to the podium for the keynote address. You're welcome, sir.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. As the MC has said, my name is Olusegun Adeyemi Adekunle. I'm a retired permanent secretary, and I stand in for the Secretary to Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who is unavoidably absent at this event this morning. I think he got stuck on another engagement which has diverted his movement. Apologies accepted. I want to recognize on the protocol list the DG BPSR, who is the host DG, the representative of the UNODC, representative of the FRSC, representative of the Office of the National Security Advisor, representative of the EFCC, the NFIU, and the Director Coftin. I will now proceed to read the keynote address by the Secretary to Government of the Federation, Senator Dr. George Akume, CON. I wish to express my profound gratitude to the Bureau of Public Service Reforms in conjunction with the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity for organizing this event. The initiative by both organizations to conduct a Transparency and Integrity Index assessment for MDAs and other government agencies is commendable and a welcome development towards enriching accountability and good governance. Particularly, the 6 parameters employed by the organizers, namely website integrity, fiscal transparency, open procurement, anti-corruption, citizens engagement, and human resources to benchmark the 2022 assessment of MDAs are remarkable, as they are critical indices to determining good governance in our society. It is vital to recognize that these metrics are not just abstract concepts. They reflect the trust that citizens place in us as public servants. We are charged with the responsibility of serving our communities and enhancing their well-being. The index not only allows us to measure our achievements, but they also help us to identify areas that require improvement in our service delivery to the people. Transparency is not merely a policy. It is a fundamental principle that underpins our democracy. It ensures that our actions are open to scrutiny and that citizens have access to the information that they need to hold us accountable for. When the public sees transparency and integrity in government, they are more likely to engage with us positively and support our initiatives, programs, and policies. Undoubtedly, the quest for citizens' greater responsiveness, better use of public resources, and development has heightened the need for transparency of public revenue. This aligns with the policy direction of the current administration as encapsulated in the 8 priority areas of the Renewed Hope agenda under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Government over the years has initiated financial reforms aimed at ensuring transparency and integrity in public financial management in Nigeria. And part of such reforms include our involvement in the Open Government Partnership, which reveals the way funds are utilized almost on a daily, weekly, and regular basis. Similarly, remarkable reforms have been recorded in various sectors aimed at emplacing prudent fiscal policies and transparency that promote open government, the fight corruption, and harness new technology to strengthen governance in the public sector. Ladies and gentlemen, government has also stepped up measures to strengthen areas of weaknesses in public sector reporting and external audit scrutiny in public financial management. As I mentioned earlier, this is done through the introduction of Open Treasury Portal for full disclosure of Federal Government of Nigeria's payments and improved transparency, governance, service delivery, and accountability. The thrust of government is to ensure that through its fiscal instruments and policies, a virile and sustainable economy is attained. Government alone cannot achieve this feat. This is why we commend the initiatives by our development partners for engaging with us and supporting us to make our society thrive. Today, as we unveil the findings of the 2024 Transparency and Integrity Index, we must take this opportunity to celebrate our accomplishments while acknowledging the areas where we must do better. There's always room for improvement. I urge all stakeholders present, government officials, civil society members, and the media to use the insights from this index as a guiding framework for enhancing our practices and fostering meaningful citizen engagement. As we move forward, let us embrace a culture of integrity in all that we do. Let us work to create an environment where ethical standards are upheld, where corruption is eradicated, and where the voices of our citizens are at the forefront of our decision-making processes. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for your unwavering commitment to this vital cause. Together, we can build a more transparent, accountable, and inclusive governance framework that reflects the aspirations of all Nigerians. I thank you for listening. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, another resounding round of applause for him. That's the representative of the SGF. Thank you very much, sir. I'll still call on the executive director of the center to round up his report before we take questions and comments. Please help me welcome him once again.
Dear SGF, thank you for the remarks. So I'll proceed to present the report for 2024. If you go to that page, these are federal MDAs here. We have the ones for states and one for local governments. So there are 9 categories here. We have agencies, departments, commissions, and units. We have courts and tribunals, examination bodies. The FCT is taken as one entity. Then the federal education and training institutions, the financial institutions, meaning Central Bank, NDIC, Development Bank of Nigeria, they are the financial institutions. Then the military and paramilitary. Under this, there are 3 security sectors, organizations, that are excluded because there's certain kind of information you cannot just ask them for that information. Then you have the core ministries, 23 of them, the research institutions, river basins, then teaching and specialist hospitals. In total, there are about 11. So for these are the categories you see. If you score 0 to 44, it's very poor. 45 to 49 is you have tried, but it's poor. 50 to 59 is good. That's why you can see the color bars showing. 60 to 69 is very good. The 70 to 100 is excellent. It's important to know that the first year the ranking was very low, so there is actually good improvement. For this year, I think the first person that came, or the agency that is number 1, is the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency. I think they deserve a round of applause. With a score of 77.92, that's how transparent they are, followed by NIPC, the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, and Development Bank of Nigeria, Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. All the scores are there. You go, the reports are there, they're in your booklet. So you see the color shades on the right. That's their score. Then the rank, just the rank, you are number 1, you are number 2, number 3, down to 514. We have 500, we assess 514 federal MDAs.
Those I read, I'm sure, like the DG said, by next year they will move to green. We hope so. Probably move to yellow. That is why we're here. We want agencies to improve. So you have all the ranking for everybody. The soft copy is on our website. You can go to fiscaltransparency.org and download, and I'm sure you have the hard copies here. Okay. So if you go down, continue scrolling down, everybody's score is here. I just want to be calling people's scores, but I've given you the first 5 people that are the top 5. So another thing we did, if you go to page 27, page 27 of your report, we now did categorization according to your area. So let's say now, under each variable. So under financials, you can clearly see, if you go to page 27, under financials, you can see tertiary education trust fund, yeah, that's that fund, scored up to 85.7 under financials. So they are doing well. NIPC, NDIC, Bank of Industry, ICRC, NEC, Development Bank of Nigeria, Advanced Legal Study, ICPC are all doing well under their financials. So civil society here, you have enough tools to work with, because if the financial records are high, there's enough data for you there. Then if you go to the next page, you see the same variable ranking for procurement. That area, dear SGF, there needs to be a lot of improvement. I want to indulge on your presence that you mandate or use your influence to make MDAs comply more with the procurement variable. In the next 2, citizens engagement, people are scoring high. If you go to page 33, that's where the procurement records are, citizens engagement, all of them, you see people's scores, what they have done well. Then the one that, dear SGF, nobody scored a single point, and the law enforcement agencies are here, is on the control of corruption implementation report. If you are doing things in combating corruption, the citizens ought to know. It's not only when the law enforcement maybe have their own press releases. MDs on their own are supposed to make public that kind of information, and that is drawn from the UNCTAD Convention and the Freedom of Information Act. So these are just all the variables. You continue to scroll down, you see everything. I would like to, I think it's important, the IGF will acknowledge, sorry. So that was the report for this year, and this report was done by 2 brilliant researchers. Where is Tamara Berupubo? Stand up. Where is she? And Linda Zawa. Please, I think you should let me give that a round of applause. They did this research, 2 of them, all the MDAs. Then the lead researcher that helped us simplify the methodology for this year, because the first 3 years were quite complex, is Dr. Samuel Baba. I know he's hiding right there. Dr. Eba, please stand up for recognition. I'm exposing you. My work is just to review the work that has been done. I didn't do anything in this report. So thank you very much. This is the report for 2024. You have this, the hard copies. The soft copy is on our website. For the purpose of people here, I could just take a minute or 2, dear DG SGF, to go to page 62, control. 62. What you see, we also ranked according to the 12 sectors that I talked about. It's not showing. No problem. No problem. Some of the media, bro. The financial institutions, meaning the development banks of Nigeria, the central bank, the NDIC, on the average, they are the best. There's no worst there, but they are the best. They did the best. Followed by the oil sector, then the military and paramilitary,
then commissions, agencies, departments, and units, then research institute, down to number 12, the river basins. So because we even do this for research purposes so that you see those that do well. Even under the ministries, you see the data for, even under your ministries now, who did well and who didn't do so well. If you go to the next page, you have for commissions, agencies, for research, every data is just there. I don't want to bore you with all the data. There's enough to chew here. So I would like to just take a few more minutes, then go to the states, since we're already here. So if you go to page 72, the states too were ranked according to the same, with the same set of variables, but the only variable you exclude here is the federal character, because there's no character for the states. So we have the rankings for the states there as well as for the local governments. But for the states, I'll also present it at another fora, so I'll just leave it for you to just check at your own time. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're not clapping for the executive director. Thank you very much. So the SGF will make official presentation of the index. So if you clap, the SGF will come for the official presentation. The SGF, sir.
You will also be assisted by the members of the high table. You can just open the report as he declares it. You're welcome, sir.
Maybe go. Just easy. Yes, you can use it.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you have just been taken through the Transparency and Integrity Index 2024. Obviously, you have noticed that there's a lot of room for improvement. There's a strong need, a compelling one, for engagement and participation by our various agencies to improve their culture of transparency so that their integrity index can be on the upward trajectory. Particularly, I opened page 75 and I looked at the local government. Now is the time for so much work to be done at that level of governance. Now that the local government autonomy has been pronounced by the Supreme Court, there's a lot of work to be done. If you see, I think they're all in red at page 75. Yes, this forms another baseline information for us to try to jumpstart our system and improve on our records of transparency and integrity in governance system. And as was mentioned in the speech, it is the bedrock of our democracy. And we must all build it in our little corners, on our desks, in our engagement with our principals, and when we have the opportunity to teach. This is a document that allows for a lot of improvement, a lot of work, and a lot of discourse. Members of the media are here today. You can help to spearhead the awareness and sensitization on the need for institutions that utilize public resources for their work, and that we should remain accountable to Nigerians that have entrusted us with the positions that we hold. It is now my honor and privilege to present to you the Transparency and Integrity Index 2024. Please go and interrogate it, and let us work together to achieve greater heights.
Thank you very much, the SGF. Before you take your leave, you take pictures with members of the responsibility table. You can keep clapping for them. And we are gradually coming close to the end of the event. Of course, you can be preparing your questions, your comments, which we'll take immediately after now, and then I will be off for the day. So to refresh our mind, please join the responsibility table. Please. Yes, yes, please. Yes, please. Come with your index.
Yes.
Thank you very much. To refresh our mind, National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency came top this year with 77.92%. They broke the record. For want of time, would have loved to project their website. When you go to their website, you really see what we are looking for. They have a section on FOI where they break down all of the variables that we are requiring, for public institutions to publish. But in due course, we'll see how we can use their website as a tool for engagement, because it's actually a model that most of us, public institutions should copy. So I will hand over to the MC to take the lead for the questions and comment sessions, which we take another 5 minutes, and we are off. The MC, please.
I've just been scrutinizing the book to check for my local government, and I cannot see anything there. And people are busy hailing him back home. Cross River. Oh, okay. I'm so surprised that every local government I'm seeing there in red biro. There's still room for improvement. Gentlemen and ladies, we're going to be taking questions and answers, and I'll call on the DG BPSR to help us coordinate that. So if you have comments, questions, answers, it's your time now.
Letting them know this is letting them know the importance of this this program. I think is important. My concern is just about the ongoing awareness and sensitization of the public, particularly now that you have the local governments coming on board. They need to know what is going on. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that information.
And we have tried as much as we can, just as I stated in my speech. We are not out to shame and disgrace. Our hope and prayer is all of us will be operating at the same level. And we hope 2025 will all be number one, number one, number one, number one. We are doing our best, and you heard the representative of the SGF saying the press and media and even ourselves need to do a lot of work around sensitization, and we are doing that. We'll continue to do that. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, please.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our able representative from the SGF and the DG BPRS, we want to thank you for the job that you are doing. You have really created impact generally to the public and some of us that are in the civil service to know what is going on. It has not been done before. Nobody will tell us that. Some of us that are in the civil service. This one is better. So I want all of us to understand that the DG is really working hard. The first thing we'll look at the point of the transparency and integrity. Transparency is clearly understood that you can even see it. But when you talk about integrity, you aim integrity. You don't gain it. It is people that will see the integrity in you. Where is the cost, expected transparency and corruption issue laying on? Is it our responsibility? Is it for generations to come? Or can we, in our present day, be able to sweep out corruption from this very stage that we are? Officially, we did some ranking. I want to say something a little bit to the representative of the SGF. As of then, last year, we went to your website. With due apology, out of record, there was nothing to say about, because we only saw the inauguration of Mr. President and other things. We have not seen what the SGF is doing for the time being. But for now, we can really applaud them of reversing back. That is one. And again, the transparency and the corruption on its own. The corruption is a threat to us generally. It's really eating us. It's within us, not anybody from anywhere, not individuals somewhere that we're talking about. The real source of the issue at stake, it is inside us. I want to remember what our DG once said in a program, I remember in Yaradua Center, where he's talking about that he has not done it. He's scoring himself 0. I said not at all of that. You have done your best. If there's nobody beside you, God Almighty is seeing what you are doing. You have been creating synergy between all other agencies to work together and to see progress in the country at large. I just pray that these media can please allow extend it for Mr. President to see this program, please. Because it has reached a stage whereby you discover that the poverty level of the public civil servant is becoming something else. Just distribution of rice, you hear somebody had diverted 4 bags. You come to another thing like that, you hear another person have done this.
Have you collected your rice? We have to stop you here.
All right.
Okay. We have noted your comments.
All right.
I recall when you did that analysis on the website of the SGF, the website was down. It was being upgraded, and the work that we've just done has indicated that there are a lot of changes on the website. If you have your phone there, please go through and see the good things that they are doing and the reports that they have uploaded. One question, please. 1 minute because of time.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Lukman Adefolahon from 21st Century Community Empowerment Initiative. It's an NGO based in Abuja. I have to commend the organizer of this. And like Dr. Umar mentioned, I think we all have a role to play if we want to see the Nigeria that we all want. And from the presentation, it shows we have a lot to do. And like the SGF representative mentioned, if we can get it right at the local government level, I think we are going to have lesser work for the law enforcement agency, because the variables ranked by this organization is about improving the system. And if we can get the system right, the takeaway from me here is to go back and digest this report and see how we can work collaboratively if we want to see the Nigeria that we want. The essence is to see how we can work closely with DPSR and other relevant government agencies. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. This is not it, sir. Yes, sir. Please put on the mic. Thank you, sir.
I'm representing my CGC here.
You didn't announce your presence.
Sorry about that, sir.
Okay.
I'm representing
You are welcome.
Bashir Adewale Adeni MFR, my CGC. So I just want to commend the initiators of this program. It's something that is timely and needed at this time. The first point I want to make here is that I think it's bringing into our awareness that public servants are servants of the people and are accountable to the people, and as such should be open to questions and critics when it comes. Secondly, sir, to make this thing effective, I think that it needs to have awareness and at the strategic level. It is important. Somebody was saying at the local government, it's not from local government, it's at the strategic level where we have our leaders. It should be an organizational culture for transparency and integrity in institutions. If you have it from the top, it flows down. I think I want to have that at the back of our mind, please. So at the strategic level, sir, the representative of the SGF, sir, please, at the strategic level, if our leaders key into this, everybody will have to comply. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are doing that, but we'll continue to do more. And we are going to host the Controller General next week during the lunchtime seminar. We'll pass this message over to him. Thank you. Yes, please. Mr. Victor, your attention is needed here, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ruth Kabubedu. I'm representing the first female Postmaster General of the Federation. We're so proud for the 200 years of the existence of the post office. It's the first time a woman is heading that place.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. I'm a director in the legal department. I stand in the shoe. But this question, I want to know, we need training, because over the years, the postal service in Nigeria has been neglected to the background. And we're so elated when we're invited for this meeting. So I would like to seek for more training, if I can get training for the postal service, because we have a universal postal union in which we are affiliated with. Like tomorrow is the Universal Postal World Post Day. So please, sir, I would really appreciate it if I can get a little training, even if it is for 2 days, so that we can start implementing this Our score is 0-0-0. But it's not our making. We've been so neglected. But
thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, when the best man for the job is a woman, so we're ready to go on. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. We have noted this. I will do what is needful. But my message to you is please open up your office. Further engage, interact, and when we send invitations, kindly respond the way you have responded to this, because all the trainings that we have done on this and on the scorecard, I'm definitely sure we send those invitations to your office. But we'll do the needful around this. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Sir, mine is just an observation and a comment. My name is Dr. Babatunde Kayode, Eminence of the Alumni Association of National Institute. I want to congratulate the organization for a job well done since its inception. But I want to talk about integrity, transparency, and accountability. Yes, for good governance. I think, yes, for the future, the focus should also be on the informal sectors. There are a lot of corruptions, lack of accountability going on in the informal sectors. And I think they need to be checkmates also, so that we can have a better society. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will not speak for EFCC and ICPC, but I know they are doing a lot of work to get the informal sector to understand the National Anti-Corruption Strategy. And the TUGA team, which BPSR is representative, is extending the campaign beyond the formal public service and the private sector. So something is going to be done around this. And I know those representatives of EFCC and ICPC will move with that. But I know there are a lot of campaigns, not only to get to the informal sector. ICPC and EFCC are taking their campaigns to nursery school, primary schools, secondary schools, and they are coming up with that. And I understand the National Orientation Agency is doing something around. Okay, I've just been informed that ICPC has a policy on national policy on integrity, which they are driving across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But we'll draw their attention to this so that we'll do more. You know, the country is large, the space is wide, but I think all the agencies are doing quite a lot to improve on this. Thank you. Any other comment, question? Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes.
But going forward, you know, and in the spirit of this occasion, you know, training is vital so that, you know, all MDAs and even the private sector, you know, we send information there which will help the public to put a lot more confidence in what we're doing, and also, you know, in entrusting us with public funds to see that it's spent properly.
Well, thank you very much for your comments. But I want to inform you that we have run several tiers of training, capacity development, engagement on this. The problem with us is where we send letters, people decide to sit on those letters. We worked with 20 civil society groups on the scorecard for ranking of websites, which is related to this. And we had private sector, some came from even outside this country. But when we came, the attendance here in this hall, if the seats will tell you, was less than 30%. And this program was planned 3 months ahead, letters were sent, 1 month reminders, 2 weeks reminder, 1 week reminder. But we're happy that technology is taking over the space. So we'll continue to take advantage of that and see how we pass this information. Thank you very much. Yes, this should be the last question. The representative of the SGF needs to move forward to attend another event, and my sister ambassador too. Yes, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning,
Start
sir.
an existing protocol, sirs. My name is Mr. Obu Christian Sunday, Director of Audit, Office of the Auditor General for the Federation. Mine is appreciation to this body. They have really done a good work, very good work. It's showing everything about Nigeria, about the government. And for the courage they actually mustered to put this thing together and speak the truth. I appreciate you. Authorities office, like it stated in the book, the sub-variable of the things he used is Auditor General's reports. I'm making an appeal to everybody. The challenges we face in carrying out our duties is more often from the auditees who refuse to give auditors documents. We're talking about transparency now. Transparency. Please, and please, I plead to all agencies of government to be audit friendly. There's no harm. Only a few of us open their doors for auditors. If you appear before, it's like war. Audit is friendly. You just express opinion on what is happening. Like they have actually written here. Part of what they use to put this together is Auditor General's reports. So I beg of all of you, please, cooperate with auditors. Okay. So that we fight corruption and nail it down. Thank you so much. And God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your comments. And BPSI is going to work and deepen the relationship between our office and your office to see how we take this campaign down to every ministry, department, and agency of government. If there is a lady, I'm being directed to ask to take a question or comment from a lady. If there is none, we'll shut down. Okay.
In the absence of any other comment or question, we'll invite the DG to come and give a closing remark. Please help us welcome him with a round of applause.
On behalf of both the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, I invite Ambassador to come and kindly close this program. I'll stand here to support you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes. Well, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, ably represented here, the DG, the Bureau for Public Service Reforms, all other distinguished guests on the responsibility table, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it has been an honor for the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity to present its number 4 of the Transparency and Integrity Index. As you can see, there have been improvements If you were here last year, you will notice the improvements that we have incorporated this year. These improvements will continue to be made. But what is most impossible is that the entities that are being assessed, should also do their own part. You see, the work we are doing is not, it's something that will help the country to move forward. Transparency and integrity. These are the most important tools to fight corruption. And we all know what corruption has done and is still doing to all of us here, every Nigerian. What we keep losing, we can't even begin to enumerate it. So we call upon all the entities that are being assessed to cooperate so that the index itself will become more and more meaningful. As has been mentioned by everyone here, with the Supreme Court judgment granting autonomy to local governments, we also call upon local governments to do their part. That way, there will be information available for everyone, and citizens will become more actively engaged in governance by making sure that those that govern us do the right thing. I would like to thank everyone who has come here today for making our time to come here. You have, as the ED has said, hard copies of the TII as well as soft copies on our website. Please make use of it. A few months before now, we had also distributed the methodology, which should help all assessed entities become more and more familiar with the variables so that they will be in a position to provide them and also thereby get higher rankings. So on behalf of the DG, I thank everyone, and on behalf of the ED, on behalf of the Center, on behalf of the Bureau, I thank everyone who has come here today. Please have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. We won't forget to thank sponsor, the MacArthur Foundation, has been the brain behind all that we are doing at the center. I would like to really thank them, even as the Own Nigeria project gets to a close this year. We really like to thank them because they have been instrumental to the fight against corruption. And indeed, what we are doing today is how we can curb corruption in Nigeria. So thank you so very much for being part of this. Lunch will be served on your way out. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you.
Dear citizens of Nigeria, Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity is an independent civil society organization that focuses on the promotion of good governance in Nigeria. The center hereby encourages all Nigerians to keep a close watch and monitor activities of local government councils across the country for the betterment of the general public. We have 3 tiers of government: the federal, the state and local government that are closer to the people. Each tier has its constitutional mandate aimed at ensuring effective governance. The Supreme Court has delivered a landmark judgment affirming the financial autonomy of local government councils in Nigeria. The time is right for citizens in the entire 774 local government areas to beam their satellites and keep an eye on how projects are executed with the federal allocation. It is your constitutional right. The Nigerian government is structured in a way that allows local governments to dispense social amenities such as construction of drainages, road networks within communities, provision of portable and safe drinking water, primary and secondary school education, efficacious and sustainable healthcare, and staff welfare for increased productivity. It is also important to keep a close watch on how recruitments are carried out in government agencies, ensuring that women are given their right share based on political contributions, and put an eye on other aspects that will benefit the the general populace. Let us be steadfast and brave enough to monitor these activities on the part of the leadership of Nigerian local governments. There is need for updates on every ongoing project to be posted on the internet for all to see and follow from wherever they may be in the world, anytime, any day. They should award contracts according to specification, making details of federal allocations and other incomes available for the sake of transparency and accountability, and also how they are spent, ensuring due process are followed on how funds are spent to execute projects to the satisfaction of the people. Social media platforms like Facebook, X account, TikTok and WhatsApp could be utilized for interactions and to disseminate updates for easy comprehension of activities of local governments. Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity is calling on Nigerians to avoid giving or accepting bribes, abide by laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, report suspicious or sharp practices to the appropriate authorities like the EFCC and ICPC. Doing so will go a long way in ensuring that allocated funds will be judiciously utilized. For more details, log on to www.fiscaltransparency.org, on X, Facebook and Instagram at FTTransparencyNG, or on WhatsApp 0803 327 8895. Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity in collaboration with MacArthur Foundation calling.